Hello, good game. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins. It's a little bit of a budget video today. I'm out camping. We don't have the studio. We do have a laptop, microphone, and my cat cam. And we're going to do our best today. I can't get the Arena client to open. Bummer. Just says initializing or loading initial scene. And I get stuck there, unfortunately. However, luckily enough for, not only myself, but all of you, we have some really cool new Innistrad spoilers to break down. So, this is going to be basically the first look that I've taken at these cards because I've, been in the bush, sitting around a fire, not really doing much on the internet. However, today's the day, and if I don't get some work done, I got to pack up Miss Maya and go home, and I just know that she does not want to leave. She's having the greatest time ever. So, that's what we have going on today. My apologies for the busted ass setup here. Don't worry, we'll get back to our normal quality in just a few days. So, you guys know about the night token, right? As it becomes night, transform all Daybound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield nightbound, and if a player casts at least 2 spells during their turn, it becomes day the next turn. And then we have the opposing day token here. If it becomes day, transform all nightbound permanents. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night the next turn, right? So this is something that we did touch on from the initial Innistrad press release that Wizards did. We put together that slideshow and we talked about a few of the spoilers, the mechanics, right? So this will be the tokens to keep track of which state it is. We have next up Sarith the Viper's Fang for 4. This is a rare, right? A human warlock legendary creature, a 3/4. Other tapped creatures you control have death touch, which is not super relevant. However, there is, like ram through was a good example. Deal damage equal to power to opponent's creature, right? The fact that it's tapped isn't great, so it will swing in, and as it taps to swing in, it gains death touch, which is all right, and then it will have death touch afterwards, right? So your opponent's not going to want to block it because of the death touch, and then you could potentially still utilize that death touch through an effect much like ramp through. Next up, other untapped creatures you control have hexproof, which is really, really cool. However, other is the downside here for me personally, because it's not going to give itself hexproof, and then it's just going to be a target for removal. They take it off, and now you lose hexproof, right? So I do like it, really nice value, and the death touch is really cool. So maybe Finn is going to get a little bit more love here with those poison counters. I think they stay in rotation. Finn was fairly new. I think Finn is a Zendikar thing. Again, could be wrong, but pretty sure. However, it's not just that. The story goes on and on, my friends. We can pay 1, tap it to untap another target creature or land we control at instant speed, which is great. You do have to tap the creature itself, so you only get to do it once. However, just basically tossing hexproof on something once your opponent's spell is already on the stack is going to be very, very good. Next up, one of my favorite cards from the first day of spoilers, the Moon's Fury and the Pax Hope Arlinn, of course, the new Planeswalker. Both sides come out with 4 loyalty. The Daybound side is the Pax Hope, and the Nightbound side is the Moon's Fury, of course. +1 on the Pax Hope. Until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flashed. Each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Wow. So, just the fact that we can cast all of our creatures with flash, right? And then, those +1/+1 counters are pretty insane too. So, it's basically better than Riot, because Riot, you had to choose whether you put the counters on something or you gave it haste. Here, we're just playing it on their end step, and we get the counters, which is absolutely amazing, right? -3, we create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. Not bad. Moving on to the Moon's Fury. We can +2 to add Gruul colors, red and green, and then we can use the 0 ability, or the 0 loyalty ability, I should say. Until the end of turn, Arlinn Moon's Fury will become a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste, which is really cool. And I never noticed that they just let Canada, our government apparently has just been able to spoil these cards for you guys. So you're welcome, right? No Canadian sleeves in the game, but we've got Canadian spoilers, eh? Moving on, you know, the commanders. We've got the Rot Cleaver with Curse of Obsession within the 1, and then there is the other commander here. I'll point it out when we get to it. So you don't really need to worry about these. You can spend your wild cards to unlock them within Arena still if you want. It talks about the decay mechanic, and if something has decay, when it dies, it will create a token zombie 2/2 that cannot block. And when it attacks, we sacrifice it at the end of combat, which is really cool. And then the Rot Cleaver kind of just puts decay on everything that doesn't have decay. That's a zombie, which is nice. The Curse, I've not seen this. For 5, enchant player at the beginning of enchanted players, at the beginning of enchanted player's draw step, that player draws 2 additional cards, holy Toledos, and at the beginning of the enchanted player's end step, that player discards their hand. So you know that is a jank lord's dream come true. Moving on though, we've got some new spoilers here that I don't think I've seen. Howl of the Hunt for 3, an aura with flash. When it enters the battlefield, if enchanted creature is a wolf or werewolf, untap that creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. So, you know, this isn't playable for me. This is like a limited card. Snarling Wolf for 1, a 1/1. You can pay 2. It gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Activate it only once each turn, right? So you can't really dump a bunch of mana, but you can do it once. Good value. Definitely not bad. It's cool to see another nice 1-drop green spell. Pestilent Wolf for 2. Gains Death Touch until the end of turn. It's a 2/2. Pump it for 3. You know, it's not the greatest, but it's there. The Festival Crasher for 2. A 1/3. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Festival Crasher gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. You can't complain there. Unruly Mob for 2. A human 1/1. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Unruly Mob. That's actually not bad. That's pretty good, I think. That may be standard playable. Definitely worth a look into a budget deck here. Angelic Enforcer. Flying. You have Hexproof. Angelic Enforcer's power and toughness are equal to the life total that you have. So this thing's going to be a 20/20. Whenever Angelic Enforcer attacks, double your life total. Are you insane? What the hell is this? We have Enduring Angel as well for 5. Flying double strike. You have Hexproof. If your life total would be reduced to 0 or less, instead transform Enduring Angel and your life total becomes 3. Then if Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. Wow. Okay, so that is a card and a half. Holy Toledos. This Angelic Enforcer is ridiculous because, you know, it's giving you hexproof so your opponent can't shock you for that remaining 3 damage. Amazing. It's going to be a 20/20 and you're doubling your life total. Sorry, it's not a 20/20. It's a 3/3. So your opponent will immediately have to remove the 3/3 from you, which is still good because you didn't lose the game from the Enduring Angel, which is really cool. So flying, double strike, it's a 3/3. That's incredible. Yeah, wow. That is a unique card. I really like that. So rest in peace aggro decks. You know what I mean? This gives your person hexproof as well, so the burn decks are just going to be non-existent, I think. You know, that is a juicy looking card, you guys. We're going to have to come back to this one, I think, a little later. Galvanic Iteration for 2. Instant speed. Wow. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Flashback for 3. You may cast the spell from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. Wow, so we have dual strike or dual cast. I think it's dual strike. We have teach by example, and now Galvanic Iteration. Wow. Okay, so that's just what Alrund's Epiphany needed, right? Moving on, we have the Contortionist Trope, I guess. Pardon my pronunciation or just general English skills. For 1+X in green colors, a 0/0, it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Coven, at the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, whether it be this one or a different one. So, you know, that's not bad, and it's another nice card for a potential green deck. A little low in the power department, but you know, it's a mana sink, right? Like you can cast this for 2, you can cast it for 10, and that is the really nice thing. Much like Stonecoil Serpent, if you're familiar. And obviously, there's no reach here, there's no trample here, there's no protection from multicolored here, but you know that mana sink still is nice. We have another transform card here. We've actually talked about this in the video. It is the Beloved Beggar and the Generous Soul. So you can play the Beggar early on for 2, and then it's going to go to your grave, and you can recast it from your grave through the Disturb cost to have it come out as the Soul, which is nice. So 0/4 Defender, and then the other side, if you do pay 6 later to game, once it's in your grave, Flying Vigilance, if it would be put into the graveyard for a second time, obviously you exile it instead, and it's a 4/4. So that's like pretty interesting. And then we have the Veils, you know, coming into the battlefield tapped unless we control 2 or more other lands. This is so good. These are absolutely amazing, and you know, the artwork on those is fancy dancy as well. We did take a look at all of these as well, and this Sigirda, Champion of Light, I believe, is the other commander that this website didn't pick up. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's fine. We talked about it. It's a 4/4 flying trample. Humans get buffed, and it has Coven, which is great. And the Coven ability is to reveal a human card from among... look at the top 5 cards, reveal a human card, and put one into your hand. The rest go into the bottom of the library in random order. So, you know, nice little dig here. And, you know, probably standard playable as well at a certain point. With a human deck, right? Celestial humans. Tolvar is really nice, you know, transforming here into the Midnight Scourge and the Dire Overlord. So, you know, the 3/3 as a human werewolf, pretty cool. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, right? And we lost our minds over this originally. And can you imagine casting this with Flash, and now it's a 4/4? Woof, right? Werewolves are going to be tough. Now, I don't know if they're going to be Nile werewolves or if they're going to be Gruul werewolves, but I am super excited. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves, it becomes a knight. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control. Woof. This is the Daybound side. We have the Nightbound side. It's a 4/4. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Same ability. You can pump it for 2+X, giving it target wolf or werewolf plus X plus 0 and trample, which is going to be great for closing out those matches, right? Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephelia, for 2, a 1/1 at the beginning of your end step. If you control no creatures with decay, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay, which is nice. And we talked about that. The decay is it cannot block, and when it attacks, you sacrifice it at the end of combat. We have the Tavern Smasher. This is a 6/5 with no mana value because it's a transform card here that we'll have to look at here from the Tavern Ruffian first. A 2/5 for 4 with Daybound. You know, it is what it is. The Smasher is a 6/5 with Nightbound. You know, this is just a good limited card, right? Really nice to see. Secrets of the Key for 1, Investigate, Flashback. Great. You know, the Investigate makes a clue. You can sack the clue for 2 to draw a card. Instant Speed for 1. I think that's fairly good value. You know, it's not an opt, but you do get to replay it from your grave later, so... you know, there's some value there. We have the Moonrage Brute, a 3/3 with First Strike, Ward 3, pay 3 life on the Nightbound side, and the Brutal Cathar for 3 as well, 2/2 on the Daybound side. When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target card and opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. Oh my gosh, that's just what white needed. You know, more exile. Yes, 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 yes. I have no words. Skyclave Apparition, love it. Elite Spellbinder, love it. Portable Hole, love it. Brutal Cathar, love it. Hook Haunt Drifter, a 1/2 with flying, and if Hook Haunt Drifter would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. And the Bake Hook Angler for 2, a 2/1 with Disturb, right? So, you know, you get to get that Haunt Drifter out a late game, which isn't even really late game because the Angler costs 2, and then, you know, it goes to the grave, the Drifter comes back for 2 mana. So this is just really good card value through the recursion and replayability. It's like basically well, not quite, I don't want to call it an adventure card, I don't want to call it an MDFC card, but it's like it's 2 cards in 1, which is really, really good. It's like Flashback kind of. Disturb's a little different, right? Candle Trap for 1. Enchanted creature has Defender, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature, and Coven for 3 to sacrifice it, exile enchanted creature, and activate it only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, which is the Covenant requirement. Like Pack Tactics had you attack with 6 or more power, right? So moving on, we have the Candlelit Cavalry for 5, a 5/5 with Coven. And if you control the 3 or different creatures with power that are 3 or more creatures with different power, they can be the same creature, I guess. The Candlelit Cavalry will gain trample until the end of turn, so just a limited card. Might of the Old Ways. I want to say Midnight Ways for some reason here. For 2 mana, instant speed, target creature gets +2/+2. Coven to draw a card. Okay, that's actually semi-relevant. I like that draw card there. And instant speed, which is nice. Dawnheart Rejuvenator for 4. This is a 2/4 Warlock. Enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. Tap it to add a mana of any color. That's not too shabby. The Arrogant Outlaw for 3, a 3/2, and when the Arrogant Outlaw enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost a life this turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Each opponent, that's got to be like a 4-player brawl card, right? Come on, Arena, get that in the game for us. Brimstone Vandal, 2/3 with Menace. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Brimstone Vandal enters the battlefield, right? This is pretty cool. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, Brimstone Vandal deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, I like that. Stormrider Spirit for 5, 3/3, flash and flying. Famished Foragers for 4, a 4/3, and whenever Forced Famagers enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, add 3 mana. Holy Toledo's, boys and girls, that's a gooder. That is interesting. That'll be used for shizzles. It costs 4, you gain 3 mana back. And if they lose life, like if creature enters play, opponent loses life, you just gain 3 mana, and you gained another 3. When it enters the battlefield, no, I'm reading this wrong. Thank the Lord, HGG. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn. So, they have to have lost life this turn, and it needs to enter the battlefield. I was going to say, how is this a common card? That's absolutely redonkulous. You can pay 3 to discard a card and draw a card, but nonetheless, at common value, that's fairly competitive, I believe, within its own weight class. Defense Straight, for 3, instant destroy target creature without flying. What about the creatures with flying? Those are the ones that really annoy me for the most part. Hashtag Goldspan Dragon. Oh, I have to F11 here. We messed up our presentation because I clicked into something. Go back to full screen. Let's go. Nobody noticed a thing, HGG. Just keep it ripping. Light Up the Night for 1+X at sorcery speed. Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target if it deals... Sorry. We're out of the zone. Let's restart. No editing today either. I don't have the ability. Light up the Night. I want to say, was it Light Up the Stage or just Light the Stage? That old spectacle card. Anyways, Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target. It deals X +1 damage instead if that target is a creature or planeswalker, which is nice. So this is cool because any target, you can send it right into your opponent's. You can dump your mana into it, right? If you're using like a Gruul ramp deck, this is great. This is going to be very good. And it has flashback for 4 to remove X loyalty counters from among planeswalkers you control. If you cast this spell this way, X can't be 0. Wow. So this is just like a way, like a planeswalker burn card. This is interesting for me. The fact that you can deal damage to any target, and then, you get that damage plus a tiny buff of 1 if it's, creature or planeswalker. And then you can cast it for 4 by removing X loyalty counters from your planeswalkers you control. So, like, if you have, say 7 loyalty on a planeswalkers, you cast this. Hopefully you've got whatever amount of mana. You do 7, 8 damage here, potentially, right? And then you get them for another bunch, which is that, It's not, like, incredible, but it's, like, very, very interesting for me. Moving on, though, without getting too, entranced here, we have the Poppet Factory. This will transform from the Poppet Stitcher. which will be cast for 3 as a 2/3. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. And of course, you know, it can't block when it attacks. Sacrifice it at the end of combat. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you may transform the Stitcher, right? So you really want to be getting those creature tokens in play to transform this. As an artifact, creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power toughness of 3/3, right? So, you know, those 1/1s, those 0/1s, whatever those terrible tokens happen to be, they're going to get buffed up thanks to this 3/3. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform it back if you want. Interesting. Very, very interesting for sure. The fact that you can flip it back to the Stitcher is nice. The Village Reaver is a 4/5. Wolves and werewolves you control have haste on the nightbound side. Where is our daybound side here? Oh, it's Village Watch. Sorry. Just as a 4/3 for 5. Ominous Roost for 3. An enchantment whenever it enters the battlefield, or whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying, and this creature can only block other creatures with flying. Foul Play for 2, sorcery speed. Destroy target creature with power 2 or less. Investigate. The Investigate cantrip off of this is relatively nice. Inherited Fiend, a 4/4 with flying. We can pay 3, exile target creature card from your graveyard, and put a +1/+1 counter on the Fiend. That's actually pretty nice. Just control the graveyard. Moving on. Originally, we have it as the Heirloom Mirror. For 2, an artifact. We can pay 1, tap it, pay 1 life, discard a card. That's quite a tally there. To draw a card, mill a card, then put a ritual counter on the Heirloom Mirror. And if there are 3 or more ritual counters on it, remove them and transform it at sorcery speed into the Fiend there. So, you know, that's actually pretty cool for an uncommon. The Thermo Alchemist, a 2 mana value, 0/3 with Defender. You can tap it, 1 damage to each opponent. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you get to untap it, which is nice. So you can tap it and deal multiple damage. I believe this is a reprint. Geist Flame Reservoir for 3. An artifact. This is rare, so let's pay attention. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on the reservoir. We can pay 2, tap it to remove any number of charge counters. It deals that much damage to any target. Interesting. We can pay 2, tap it, exile the top card of your library, and you may play it this turn. Okay, so that's where the value's at. You know, you're just playing top cards of your library. You know, it's only 1 per turn, but still, that is, you know, a draw engine, basically, that stays in play, and it can activate every turn. Can't Stay Away for 2, sorcery speed. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains if this creature would die. Exile it instead with flashback for 5. Very nice. The Baneblade Scoundrel for 4, a 4/3, and whenever Baneblade Scoundrel becomes blocked, each creature blocking it gets -1/-1 until the end of turn as the Daybound side. Nightbound, we have the Baneclaw Martyr, a 5/4, and whenever it becomes blocked, blocking creatures get -1/-1 until the end of turn. Same effect. And whenever a creature blocking it dies, that controller loses 1 life, so a little bit of an added bonus there as well. It's bigger, it's a little bit badder, which is always cool to see. Curse of the Leeches for 3 as a rare enchant player. As this permanent transforms into Curse of the Leeches, attach it to a player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life as the Daybound side. Nightbound, a 4/4 with lifelink, you know, gonna get the job done there. That is all of our releases for September 2nd. How many do we have? I think we're going to maybe call our quits here, and we'll do the rest in another video, just to keep them nice and slow. I don't know how much room I have on my hard drive. So, you know, that was everything we had to offer from September 2nd. What was your guys' favorite card? This was my first time looking at any of these. Well, not any of them. Okay, so my newest favorite, I think, has got to be Brutal Cathar. This thing is, that's good. That's really good. I also love Tolvar. That's amazing. And then, of course, Arlinn looks sick too. Angelic Enforcer looks really cool. And Galvanic Iteration as well, right? So that's what's up. I cannot wait. I think my first deck is going to be Arlinn for reals. this card really just makes me smile. So that was September 2nd. We looked at a lot of cool cards. What was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Again, we're out camping. Maya's screaming. She wants to go for a walk. And of course, I've got some more work to do as well. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, making things like this possible, right? Working on location is always fun. And the ability to do it is great as well. So cheers. Have a magical day. Thanks for supporting. Make sure to be certain that you're on the giveaway list. I'm going to do that when I get back to the studio. The D&D Rare Playset giveaway, right? Make sure that your name is on that list so you have a chance to win. And, you know, more importantly than everything, from Maya and myself, have a magical day, and we'll see you soon in the next.